A long road to recovery, that's the headline from the New York Times, and honestly, it couldn't be more fitting for where we are right now. So here's the situation: there's an initial deal between the United States and Iran, and as of this Friday, it's expected to be signed. That's the good news. The bad news? Getting the global economy back on track after 4 months of war is going to be anything but quick or simple. Let's rewind a little. When Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz back in late February, shortly after the US and Israel bombed Iran, on February 28th, Middle East energy exports practically vanished overnight. Oil and gas prices exploded. Inflation surged. And the ripple effects spread everywhere: energy rationing in Asia, fertilizer shortages in Africa, grounded planes in Europe. This wasn't just a regional conflict, it hit the entire global economy, and it hit hard. That enormous economic toll is actually one of the main reasons President Trump has been so eager to end this war. And paradoxically, the desperation to stop the pain might be exactly what makes this deal stick. A lot of people, governments, businesses, ordinary families are absolutely desperate for this to be over. But here's where it gets complicated. When markets heard about the preliminary agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, they responded immediately. Oil prices dropped to their lowest levels since early March. Relief. But that relief in financial markets and the actual physical reality of getting oil and gas flowing again are two very different things. Think about the logistics for a moment. Even in normal times, it takes weeks or months to move oil and gas from wells in the Middle East to buyers in China or Japan. These are not normal times. The strait isn't even open yet. There are concerns it may be mined. Once it does open, the first task is getting out hundreds of stranded vessels, and U.S. officials say that process alone could take weeks. Then you have to restart oil wells, refineries, and other infrastructure that's been sitting idle for months. Any infrastructure that was actually damaged in the war will need repairs too, and that takes even more time and money. And then there's the trust problem. Shipping companies aren't going to rush back into the Persian Gulf just because a deal was announced. One shipping executive told The Times it would take weeks or even months before he'd feel comfortable sending ships back in. The CEO of Shell put the best-case timeline for finding a new equilibrium at 6 to 12 months. Even beyond logistics, there are changes to the global economic order that may simply be permanent. Iran has signaled it wants to impose fees on ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. The fact that it demonstrated it could shut down one of the world's most critical shipping lanes has already driven up insurance costs. The energy shock has also sent countries scrambling for alternatives, pushing the renewable energy sector forward in ways that benefit China, boosting Russia's oil exports, and accelerating production in places like Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia, Argentina, and Guyana. The Gulf region itself, home to major global financial and trade hubs, has taken a reputational hit. Attacks on hotels and airports have shaken its image as a stable place to do business. And remember where the world was at the start of 2026, economists were actually thinking about upgrading their growth forecasts. Inflation was falling, growth was picking up. Now central banks around the world are raising interest rates to fight inflation, and the World Bank has downgraded its global growth outlook. A year that started with real promise now looks painful, and that's assuming the deal holds. The road to recovery is real, but it's long, and some of the damage from these 4 months of war may never fully heal.